Good afternoon to my evaluator, Sir Halim. Today I'm going to present my final year project, which is entitled The Relationship Between the Factors Affecting the Performance of Foreign Workers and Their Level of Performance at the Workplace. So for chapter 1, which is the introduction, for the background of study, in brief, it can be said that there are a lot of organizations across the world that employ not only local workers but also foreign workers. And acknowledging that, it is important for organizations to recognize the factors that affect the performance level of foreign workers at the workplace. So moving on to the problem statement, I've been able to identify 3 problem statements for this research, and I included them in the slides. So for the research objectives, the general objective of this research is to identify the factors that affect the performance level of foreign workers at the workplace. As for the specific objectives, there are 4 of them, and I have included them in the slides. Meanwhile, for the hypotheses, I managed to derive 4 hypotheses, and each of these hypotheses are null hypotheses, and they are also shown in the slides. For the conceptual framework, from the 4 hypotheses which I have derived, I was able to come up with a conceptual framework that is exactly as shown in the slides. For the significance of the study, this study will have an impact on 4 aspects, which are research methodology, body of knowledge, human resource practitioner, and also employees. And finally, for the last part of chapter 1, which is the definition of terms. So in this research, there are 4 important terms, and referring to the slides, I have created a table that includes the 4 important terms and also its conceptual definition and also its operational definition as well. And going into chapter 2, which is literature review. So there are several past research that have been conducted which are related to this study, and I've been able to identify those several past researchers and included them in the slides. And next, for the related theories and models. So I've managed to identify 3 related theories and models that can be associated with this study. And these 3 related theories are Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Herzberg's 2-factor principles, and McClelland's theory of needs. And now going into chapter 3, which is research methodology. So for the research design, this research is a quantitative approach, and it is also a survey research. In addition, this research adopts the correlation approach. For the population and sampling, this research specifically targets foreign employees. And for the sampling technique, the purposive sampling technique was used. And for the validity and reliability of the research, a pilot study was conducted to determine the validity and reliability of the instruments. This study also practices several ethical considerations, and these ethical considerations include informed consent, free from any physical or mental harm, confidentiality, and privacy. As for the data collection procedure, since we are now in the era of the COVID-19 global pandemic, I have conducted the data collection procedure based on the 5 steps displayed in the slides. And now, going on into the data analysis procedure. So there will be 2 types of statistics involved, and these 2 types are descriptive statistic and also inferential statistic. Still within the data analysis procedure, For the 4 null hypotheses which I have mentioned earlier, they will be analyzed using the Pearson correlation method. And now we go to the next chapter, which is chapter 4, the findings of the study. So for the demographic profile of respondents, in brief, most of the respondents are male. They are 25 to 34 years old. Most of them are married, and a majority of them have worked for 4 years and below, and also 5 to 9 years. And most of them are working based on office hours. I have also included a table that sums up the demographic profile of respondents in the slides. Now, going into the analysis of measures, using the SPSS, I've been able to find the descriptive statistics for the demographic variables and also the reliability analysis of the instruments. The findings are displayed in the slides. And to the next part, which is hypothesis testing. So for the hypothesis testing, I used the Pearson correlation test in SPSS to determine whether or not the 4 null hypotheses are accepted or rejected, and the findings are shown in the slides. And to the last part of chapter 4, which is the dominant independent variables and also the dominant variables among the independent variables and also the performance level of foreign workers. So here I conducted a multiple stepwise regression using SPSS, and the findings are also included in the slides. And now going into the last chapter, which is chapter 5, discussion, summary, implications, recommendations, and also conclusion of the study. So for the discussion of the study, for the first null hypothesis, it is usually based on Vroom's expectancy theory. So based on this theory, the higher the income that foreign workers expect to earn, the more productive they will be, and vice versa. And for the second null hypothesis, it is based on a past research conducted by Abdul Razik and Rahila Maulabash 2015. So an adequate work environment will cause an increase in the productivity of foreign workers and vice versa. Next, the third hypothesis, it is based on human relations theory. So based on this theory, the more valued and appreciated foreign workers feel, the more productive they will be, and vice versa. And next, the last null hypothesis is based on a recent research conducted by Belf 2020. So based on that research, it is said that workers who are promoted will feel more motivated and inspired, thus leading to an increase in productivity level at the workplace. So now going into the research summary, I have managed to emphasize and summarize the importance of the 5 chapters of this research into one slide. And next, going into the implications of the study. This study will have an influence on 3 sides, which are employers, foreign employees, and also human resource practitioners. So so the next one would be recommendations. And the recommendations of this study I've included and I've emphasized based on 2 aspects, which are sampling and future research. And last but not least, the conclusion. So in conclusion, the findings indicated that there is a relationship between the factors that affect the performance level of foreign workers and how these factors influence their performance level at work. So that's all from me. Thank you.